It's good to see everybody. Thank you for being here. My name is Josh Forsyth. I am the theater teacher here at Franklin High School. Thank you to the parents that are here. Thank you to the students that are here. Thank you to friends and family that are here, and thank you to the judges for being here. This is our first inaugural, I think that's how you say it, Story Slam here at Franklin High School. This is also the first event that's in this brand new theater that we're sitting in, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, if we could give a round of applause to really the people that built it and all the hard-earned money that was given towards this in terms of taxpayers. So thank you very much. It's a beautiful space, and we're certainly honored to be here. So thank you for being here. This is a joint venture between the theater program and the library program, between myself and Miss Sandra Child, who is right over here in the corner. She's also going to be our timekeeper tonight. So, if you're a student that's in the audience, you may have seen a table. And even if you aren't a student, if you want to sign in for extra credit, you do get extra credit. It will come in different forms depending on your age, but you will get extra credit in some way for being here tonight. But only if you sign the form. If you don't, then you will not get extra credit. I'm going to introduce our judges, and I apologize if I'm going to do my best to say your names correctly. If I mess it up, I apologize. And it's Alina. Alina is a storyteller mom and is trying desperately to figure out what she's going to do when she grows up. Could you mind raising your hand just so we can see? And it's okay to give a round of applause for each judge as I introduce them. Yes, thank you. Next up in line is Brian McKee. Brian tells stories with pictures and is a cinematographer and director of photography. So Brian, thank you for being here. Next is Mary, is the author of 9 Simple Patterns for Complicated Women. Her fiction has appeared in publications such as Harvard Review Online, and her criticism essays have appeared in Oregon Humanities and The Oregonian. So thank you for being here, Mary. Next is Keisha is a writer, actor, and director, and recently competed in the Portland Moth Grand Slam and won in October. So thank you for being here, Keisha. And next up is Domingo. He likes to tap into stories that he inherits as a Black and Latino man, and has been serving as Franklin's campus security for over 18 years. So thank you for being here, Domingo. Excellent. So, how many people have been to a Story Slam before? Oh, okay, cool. So, just a few of you. So there's a bunch of you that are just never seen this. It's just really exciting, which is really one of the main things that we're trying to do, is to try and build this thing that's been actually happening for a while, longer than it's been here. So we're trying to bring this storytelling tradition to Franklin. So I'm going to explain a little bit about how it works. There's this hat right here, and I'm going to be drawing, we have 7 storytellers that are going to be telling their stories here tonight. I'll introduce them here in a second, but they're going to be telling our stories tonight. So we're going to be randomly picking the order, so they don't know when they're going to go, they just know that they're going to go. They have 5 minutes to tell their story. So they're going to have a 5-minute time limit, and at the 5-minute mark, Jesse, who is our musician for the evening, is going to, yes, we can give him a round of applause. Thank you for being here, Jesse. So Jesse is going to give us a little something. Go ahead and give us a little something. Beautiful. So it's kind of a soft, hey, you've been talking for 5 minutes, and you've got 1 more minute in order to finish up your story. You get a 1-minute grace period, and at the 6-minute mark, there's going to be something just a little bit more pointed that, hey, it's time to stop. Yeah, it kind of goes a little bit sort of like the Oscars, where what do they call it, the playoff, where they sees Jesse will be that guy. He will play them off. So we're hoping that it doesn't go to that point. So they have 5 minutes to tell the story, and they have a 1-minute grace period. Okay, so here's the thing about the stories is that they must be original stories. They are truthful stories. They are not invented. They are from the storyteller's life. They're not to use any props, so they're not going to use any props. It's just with the words. So the judges are going to be scoring the storytellers from 0 to 10. And they've got the decimal points in between, so they can do 7.7 and and whatnot, all the way up to 10. So they're going to score, and then what's going to happen is the math guys. These are our math guys over here. Our math guys. I like to refer to thank you. I like to refer to them as math wizards or math geniuses. So either one, and if this is Eli and Jackson, who are going to be doing our math for us. So the way it works is we're going to take the top score and the bottom score, and we're going to just get rid of them, right? We're going to take the top score and the bottom score, and we're just going to get rid of them, and then they're going to total up those that score to give us a point value, if that makes sense. So there's going to be 3 scores that are kept. They add it up, and then that's going to be the score, which we will keep hidden. Though, if you have the ability to do the math quickly in your head, then you could keep track. If you're like me, you'll pretend like you do, but you really won't have any idea. You'll just kind of be surprised. We're like, oh, they won. Excuse me. So, see what do they take a little. All right. The highest score, right, will be our winner, and they will get $50, right? They will get a $50 prize. Second place, cash money. I know. It was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. I was like, yeah, it is a lot of money. $50. Second place will get $25, and third place will get $10. And then our winner, the winner of tonight's, will also get a chance to go onto the Citywide Story Slam, Truth Be Told, which is the event that's going to happen March 1st. It will be, right here in this room. So you'll please come back in, 3 months? 3 months from now. So we're going to do four stories, and then we're going to take a brief intermission, and then we'll come back for 3 more. I'm going to introduce our storytellers. Again, they're not necessarily going to go in this order. So we have Seth is going to be doing a story, Seth Estrada. Yes, we can clap for him. Asha Fusen. Is Fusen? Am I saying her? Fusen. My apologies, Fusen. Olivia Gaddis, right here. Olivia Lufkin. Where are you at? There's Olivia. Jessica Mason. Jessica, right here. Oliver McFadden, right here. Natalie Perkins, who is going to be telling a story tonight, unfortunately wasn't feeling well and is not going to be with us, so she's not going to be telling the story tonight. But last but not least, we have Emily Roman is going to be telling us a story. I should also mention that the story itself, so how are the judges deciding their scores? They're deciding in a few ways. One is that the storyteller, the theme is being incorporated. The theme for tonight is trouble. That was the theme that the storytellers were given. All the storytellers went through either a workshop in my class, in my theater classes, or they went through a workshop in an after-school thing that they volunteered to do this week, along with me and Miss Childs teaching that workshop, and that's how they came to be here tonight. So the theme is trouble, and so part of what they're being scored on is that. The other is sticking within the time frame, right, that 5-minute time frame. The other is that it is a story. Thank you. That it's a story, not a rant or stand-up comedy. It is a story that has a beginning, middle, and end. Am I missing anything? Am I forgetting anything? Oh, delivery, right. So part of it's also on the delivery of the story. Okay. Am I forgetting anything? I'm not sure if I
Just that if they do go over estimating, the math guy will take his point off.
Oh, yeah. If they go over 6 minutes and Jesse does the playing off, then that's unfortunately results in them losing 1 point off of their score. Okay. I think we're ready to start. Is everybody ready to hear some stories? Yeah, okay, sweet. All right. It's always so exciting. I'm going to do this here. Okay. All right. Our first storyteller will be Seth. Come on up.
I never imagined my room would be used as a flop house. So when I was growing up, I used to look a lot to my brother. He was kind of my role model. And so I usually looked up to him when he would always doing something wrong. I would do the opposite. So he was always getting into trouble. And I remember one time, he came into my room. We shared rooms at the time. And so he came into the house, and he smelled of smoke and of booze, and he just came in and he started ravaging through his things. And I asked him, "Hey, can I come with you?" And he said, "No, I don't want you to embarrass me." And so I realized at that moment, I'm going to have to be doing a lot of things on my own from now on. I'm not going to have this role model that I always lived by to know what was right from wrong. And it was funny because before this happened, before he hit adolescence, it was just yesterday, it felt like it, that we were running through the forest acting like pine cones were grenades and twigs were pistols or swords, and we were just innocent. But now everything changed. He wasn't even at the dinner table most nights. And so several months ago, he had come from prison about maybe 3 years ago. He'd come from prison, and he had adjusted to the move, and every now and then he'd be sleeping on the couch. I remember I'd get home, and I'd look at night, and I'd be like, "Oh, there's my brother, he's safe," because he'd be sleeping on the couch. And so one day after school, I came, and usually when I come home from school, there's nobody home. And so when I walk into my house, I like to break the silence, and I like to say something like absurd, like, "I have a gun." Like I have to say like something really stupid just to like feel comfortable, And so I just say like, "I have a gun." And then like I hear a thud in my room, and I'm like, "Oh crap, somebody's actually here." And so like I run over to my room, and I open it, and my textbook dropped. And I was like, "Oh, there, I picked that up." I put it on my bedside. And I look around, and I look at my desk, and there's a couple of things that I had never seen there before. I didn't put them there. They were there. I'd never seen them. And so I look closely, and there's a scale, and there's a couple of bags, probably around like 100. And there's this big bag. And I told myself I really didn't want it to be what I thought it was. And so I told myself it must be salt, please be sugar, but it was cocaine. A whole bag of cocaine being distributed in tiny little bags to be sent out to people. This was a business. And so I was scared. My heart was beating super fast, and I was thinking, "Oh my God, the cops are going to run into the house, and I'm going to get arrested. He's going to get arrested. The drugs will be confiscated." And I was scared, and I was worried that there's trouble coming for us. And so I sat down at my desk, and I looked solemnly at my brother. And he looks at me and he says, "Yo, homie, can I do this line off your book?" And I was like, "Oh my God, please no, please don't," in my head, but I didn't say anything. And he puts my book on his lap. And I said, "This is it." And he pours a line, and he goes, and that was it. I looked into his eyes, and I'd never seen this kid before. I'd never seen this guy. He looked at me with such sincerity, as if he was a kid again, as if we were playing in the forest. And we started reminiscing about those days when everything was great, when he wasn't this teenager, he wasn't this adult that had so many obligations on the streets, that he'd been in and out of the house. I was sad. And so I looked at him, and I realized that this drug gave him life. and he was at the bottom. And I never thought that the drugs would ever give him life. I thought drugs took away lives, but it gave him life. And I took this opportunity to reflect on my own life. Because I'm always trying to change. I'm always trying to make myself better. And so I realized that he wasn't the only one using substances the wrong way. I based my life on putting my headphones in and listening to music because it gave me self-esteem. Sometimes I needed songs to tell me that everything was going to be okay. Sometimes I needed caffeine to wake me up and prepare me for the school day. Sometimes I needed these substances, and I realized that I shouldn't rely on these substances like my brother did, or I'd turn out just like him. And so in that moment, I had never been able to look at my textbook the same. But also, without these substances, I've been able to be more self-independent and not have to rely on anything anymore. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seth. Thank you. Okay, judges, take your time. All right, 8.4, 9, 8.3, 8.1, and 9.1. Math geniuses, do you have the scores? Looks like they do. Okay. So while they're tallying things up, I'm just gonna do something that I had forgotten to do. So this is one of the nice things about having a wireless mic is you can just kind of walk around and do stuff like this. I'm just gonna make the room a little bit, there we go. Subtle change, but nice. Math guys, are you guys good? Okay. All right, so we have our, now I'm gonna walk over this way. I know, it's exciting. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. I'm gonna get the hat. I forgot to get the hat. Okay, so we're gonna get our next storyteller here. And the next storyteller is going to be Oliver. Come on up. Let's give a round of applause to Oliver. Do you want it on the stand or do you want to hold it?
Yeah, I'll hold it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. So I think parents in Portland have something to prove. You'll know what I mean in a second. The school I went to for elementary school was called Portland Village School. It was a Waldorf school, and if you don't know what that is, all you need to know is it involved a lot of wax molding and watercolors. Everything was painted pastel, yellow colors, and there's just cloth everywhere. That's how it was, and everybody was really good, and you know what I mean. And it was really Waldorf. But then I changed schools in 5th grade. I had a difference of opinion with the teacher, and so I got on a lottery for a school, and this is a different school. This is like West Side Story, right? It's a change. And this school is called Creative Science School. It's not really that much different, but it was a change for me, going from this Waldorf school to this other school that's very similar. It's a Creative Science School is a really small school. It's probably growing, but it was like 300 students at the time, and my class was about 25 people. It was really hard for me to break in, really tight group, and I didn't make a lot of friends at first. But there was this one boy, and my name is Oliver, if you don't remember, and this boy's name was Oliver, and his last name started with an M. His mom's name is Lisa. My mom's name is Lisa. It was perfect. We spent every minute we could with each other. So I had a best friend for my 5th grade year, and it was great. But we had no filter or impulse control whatsoever collectively. So we would do crazy stuff. And by that I mean one of us would leave to go to the bathroom, and then another of us, 5 minutes later, would leave to go to the bathroom. And then we wouldn't go to the bathroom. We'd just talk in the hallway. It was crazy. At recess, we'd go out to recess, and we'd go around the corner, and the teacher couldn't see us. That's it. That was it. We would just stay behind the corner. And then we, like I said, no impulse control. Just none of us said no. So we started going into the gym during recess and just playing with the balls, as a bunch of delinquents. We were just playing with the gym balls at recess. We were supposed to be outside. And so one day we had this marker, and Oliver's this kind of, other Oliver, is this kind of sketchy skater dude. I wouldn't say sketchy, but he's edgy. And he would draw his name, therefore my name, in bubble letters, in like kind of like graffiti bubble letters on like paper and stuff. So, and I started doing it. It was easy to copy, same letters. We were like, we started drawing on this bathroom stall that nobody used, and we could just wipe it off. It was like a plastic bathroom stall. But then I realized if you drew on the like metal corner, it would stay there. And so we were like, it's fine. It's just like we're like tagging. But the real difference there is we were using our real names. I don't think we got the idea of tagging. So in this school of 300 kids, both of the Olivers got caught for writing Oliver on the bathroom stall, and we got in trouble. And we promised we wouldn't do it again. And no, we wouldn't use Sharpies, and nobody would use Sharpies again in the school for a long time. And I could say that's really my accomplishment, is nobody was allowed to use Sharpies for a long time. But one day, we come to school, and someone's like talking about the bathroom, and there's like this rumor going around, there's something in the bathroom, and I'm like, it's a bathroom, like what's up? So I go in the bathroom, and there's like black Sharpie just scrawled on the wall. It didn't even look good. It wasn't even in bubble letters. It was just like scribbled. And I was like, I didn't do this. Oliver didn't do this, I think. And but we were the guys who had the Sharpies and drew on things with Sharpies, and it was a bathroom. It just kind of connected. And we had to clean it up. And this is when I realized that no matter what, that was the reputation I had, getting in trouble. I was the guy who drew on bathroom stalls with Sharpies. And don't worry, Domingo, I don't do it anymore. That's not me. But it's difficult, and that's when I learned that reputation of getting in trouble has a lot to do with getting in trouble in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, judges, take your time. Okay. All right, we have an 8.3, an 8.0, an 8.5, 8.1. Did you already get the 8.1? And 8.5. So I'm just going to say them one more time. 8.5. Oh, you guys got it? Math? Geniuses. Behind me, I just say the number one time and they just have it. I have no idea. I know that you guys were putting numbers up in front of me and I was saying them. No idea what they are. So the theme is trouble. And so as you're hearing these stories tonight, I know for both the story, when you hear about things, stories about siblings, stories about friends, stories about school, again, this is, are you guys good? Okay, awesome. I'm just rambling, by the way. I'm just kind of rambling.
That time you got in trouble.
I was telling this is just a quick story. No, this is not. I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to tell the whole story. So, I'll tell. I'm not going to tell it now. I'm going to tell it later because I want to ramble later. I will tell you guys a story later about me getting into trouble. Let's hear another story. Let's hear another storyteller from tonight's evening. I'm going to pull a name from the hat, and it's going to be unfolding. Jessica. Jessica, where are you, Jessica? Oh, there you are. Come on down. Do you want to use the mic stand, or do you want to? Yeah, you do. Okay. Is that good? Okay. All right.
I was bullied when I was in elementary school, just like billions of other people across the world. I was told that I wasn't good enough, that I didn't deserve to be there, that I was stupid, and that I should kill myself. And as you would imagine, that affected my mental health quite a bit. And eventually, by the time I was in around 3rd grade, I decided that it wasn't worth it to me to do my work anymore. I started having trouble with school. I didn't do my classwork, I didn't do my homework, and I didn't talk to the other kids very much because I was scared of them. So then in 4th grade, I got Cindy Dulcich as my teacher. And I came into her class. I didn't do my classwork. I didn't do my homework, and I didn't talk to kids. Instead, I would read Harry Potter under the desk and then get in trouble for that. And I started out the year doing minimal work, sometimes not doing work at all, and she told me that that was not good enough and that I should do better. And at some point during the year, she nominated me for the Talented and Gifted certificate. And I went and took the tests, and I was designated TAG in reading and writing. And I still was not doing my classwork and not doing my homework, and she told me, I know you can do better, so why aren't you doing better? And then with her encouragement, I started doing my work a little bit more. I would actually do some of it, and so instead of getting zeros, I would get more than 0. And I started doing my classwork and homework, and I even talked to a couple kids, and I made some friends. And then in 5th grade, since we had a split-level class, I got Cindy Dulcich again. And over the summer, I started slacking off again. And she made it very clear that that was unacceptable. So then once again, I started doing more and more work until I was receiving somewhat decent grades. And then middle school. I decided that I was going to prove her right, that I could do all of the things that she told me that I could do. So then I started working a little bit harder and a little bit harder, and I ended up getting mostly B's. And I went and showed her my report card, and once again, she told me that that was not good enough because she knew that I could do better than that. And so then through 7th grade and 8th grade, I worked harder and harder, and eventually in 8th grade, I got all A's. And I was so proud of myself because I had been working for so long to achieve this. And I remember talking to Miss Dulcich, and I showed her my report card, and she said, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. And Cindy Dulcich really helped shape who I am today, because I consider myself a very hardworking person, and I try my best at everything that I do. And if it wasn't for Cindy Dulcich, I would not be standing on this stage right now. I probably wouldn't even be in the audience. And I'm just very thankful that she really told me that I was worth it. Thank you.
All right, okay. All right, judges. Take your time. Okay, so we have an 8.0, an 8.2, 8.1, and a 9.1, and we will, it's totally fine, we will. The suspense is amazing. Oh, no, it's believe me, it would take me even longer. 8.4, 8.4. Okay. All right, so there was something I was going to say, but I got so caught up in listening to Jessica's story that I have no idea what I was going to say now. I was just so, I was inspired, so oh, you guys are done? That fast? I'm like trying to fill space so that I don't even need to fill. It's just there. Yeah, you guys are amazing. Okay, so we're going to hear one more storyteller, and then we're going to take a short break. So let's find out who it's going to be. All right, the next storyteller is Emily. Emily, come on down. Okay.
So for the first 13 years of my life, I felt pretty caged. I felt like no matter what I did, my fate was already predetermined by some other force out there. And I figured that no matter what I did, that I would always end up with that I would always die, and that nothing I ever did would amount to anything. So when I was about 13, I found out that my Nana was dying, and that there was this woman that I looked up to so much and I cared about so much that there was nothing out there that could help her. So one day I got pretty depressed, and I went to a store and I bought some razors. Part of me wanted the clerk to stop me and say, "Hey, you can't buy these, you're too young." But instead of doing that, he just asked what they're for, and I made up some lie about them being for some school project, and he believed me. So I walked out, and I took the razors home, and I kept them in my room. I didn't do anything with them for a few months, and they just sat there. And I never really planned to do anything with them. I just wanted them there in case. But one day during the summer, in about 2016, I think, I got pretty bad, and I took them to a park. Well, not them. I just took one. I just started walking with my phone and my earbuds, and I didn't really have a set destination. I just decided to start walking. I actually ended up at the Woodstock Park, and I'd never been there before. And I sat there on the swings for a few hours, and I just thought. I kept battling back and forth with myself, passing the razor in between my hands, wondering what I would actually do with them. And I remember there was this little kid, being like a little kid, waddling around the park and laughing. And then she started shouting and pointing at this lump of white and ginger. And her mom looked kind of afraid, I guess, and she kind of like herded her kid away. So being curious, I walked over and I saw there was a cat lying on the side of the road. And it looked like it had been hit by a car, and it just made me think for a second. If I actually decided to use these razors, it wouldn't be fair to the cat or anything that had ever been killed. And most of all, it wouldn't be fair to my Nana, who was having her chance at life being taken from her if I took it myself. So I decided that I would throw the razors away and never think about anything like that ever again. So I wrapped up the cat in this old sweater that I had, and I left it beneath a tree with the razor I had, and left. And later that day, I got all the razors out of my room, and I threw them away. And with that sort of funeral for the cat, I left behind my mindset that I had that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, judges, take your time. Okay, so we have 9.1, 9.1, an 8.8, 8.3, and 8.7. Oh, 8.2. I'm sorry. Did I say that wrong? Again, I apologize if I did it incorrectly. I think after that last story, I just want to say that one of the things that's really awesome or incredible about storytelling is just its power of healing, right? This idea of telling a story, sharing something with a group of people. We all have experiences that are connected, and hearing somebody's story can be an incredibly profound thing. And all the stories that we've heard so far are certainly connected with me, so thank you for the storytellers. We are going to take now, we've heard 4 stories, we're going to take just a quick 10-minute, or is it 10 minute? We're going to take a 5-minute, 10-minute. Yeah, let's take 10 minutes. How's everybody feeling? You guys feeling pretty good? Yeah? Okay, so let's take a 10-minute, and then we'll come back, and then we'll hear 3 more stories. All right. Yeah, all right, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm gonna tell a quick story, just a real quick story about a time that I got in trouble. I don't know if I told I told my class this today. So I'm a theater teacher, and I didn't live in Portland for a while. I was down in Ashland and lived down there, and I moved back to Portland to become a teacher. And when I was in school, I decided that I really wanted to do more what I refer to as street theater. So street theater is basically when you go out and you just do weird stuff, and then people don't really know that you're doing it, but you just do it. So so we would do weird things, like we would go go to the park, and then we would just close our eyes and wander around until people would come up and ask us if they could help us, that kind of stuff. Thank you. Yeah, it's not very exciting, but anyway, so we would do that. So this one time we were at Pioneer Courthouse Square, and if you've ever been there, it's full of bricks. And the bricks have names on them, and one of those bricks has my name on it because my parents bought the brick for me when I don't know when they did this, but I was really young. So there's a brick with my name on it, and I've always wanted to find it, right? So I'd search around, look for the brick. And then eventually, through the course of doing weird stuff, we were doing this puppeting thing where a person would be up above near the Starbucks area, and they'd like do this thing with their hands. And then, thank you, Jesse. And the people, we would just like mimic it, if that makes sense. Like we would mimic what they were doing, and it was just weird, but we were doing it. And then I discovered my brick. I found my brick, like through this I was like, whoa, my brick's there. And then I was horrified because my brick had a crack in it. Like it was like cracked all the way down the middle. So I decided that I wanted to come back, and I wanted to know if like the city would fix the brick. So we invented this fake organization called FabFOA. And FabFOA stands for Fix Our Bricks Foundation of America. So we had FabFOA on like badges. I was there with my friend Clay, and we brought cones, and we like put cones out around my brick, and then we had tape measures, and we were measuring and doing stuff. And we thought that was just innocent fun. Turns out the police didn't think it was funny. They wanted to know what we were doing and if we had any permits, and we couldn't. There was a part of my brain that was like, just tell them that you're this weird theater student that's doing stuff. But we didn't. We just committed to it, and we're like, we're from FabFOA. And we were concerned about these bricks and their disrepair. And I thought in my mind, like as soon as I tell the guy that I'm from FabFOA, like that's it. It's over. There's no way that that they're going to believe that that's real. He's like, what's FabFOA? Like very serious. And we're like, well, FabFOA stands for Fix Our Bricks Foundation of America. And he's like, do you guys have any permits? And so I'm thinking like at that point we're done. But my friend Clay gets onto the phone and is like pretending to make phone calls to like people that don't exist about why the permits hadn't been put in and what's happening, and we were supposed to be approved and whatnot. So they were like, well, you have to go up to the office, whatever this office was, which is near Nordstrom's. If you don't know that, it's above the Nordstrom's. So we went there, and we had to kind of stay in character and went all the way up there. We're from FabFOA. We'd like forms. to fill out. So we filled out the forms because we didn't want to get arrested. I don't think they would have arrested us. I don't know if that was, again, I mean, but we didn't want to get ticketed. So anyway, they believed us. We filled out the form. Unfortunately, I never actually did anything with it. But just before we continue, if you do have a concern about the bricks in your area, or there's some, for some reason, then you can make a small donation to FabFoa. I will happily accept any checks, but please make them out to Josh Forsyth, not FabFoa. Thank you. Yeah, so that's a story about me getting in trouble, or almost got into trouble, but then I totally lied to the police and told them that I was from a fake organization. Okay, so next storyteller for the evening is Olivia G. Olivia G. Okay, there you go.
So when I was 4, my mom had this one rule. You had to eat a vegetable before leaving the dinner table. I could not brush my hair in the morning and look like a wild caveman. I could play in the mud and not have to wash my hands, but I had to eat one vegetable. So that night it's dinner time, and the vegetable choices are steamed mushrooms and steamed red bell peppers. And I equally hated both. The mushrooms, when I ate them, they tasted like rubber in my mouth, and the red bell peppers just smelled weird. So I went for the one that didn't smell weird. I ate the mushroom and immediately ran to the trash can and spit it out. My mom's thinking, my child is exaggerating over vegetables, and she beckons me back to the table and points to the red pepper and says, okay, Olivia, just eat the red pepper. And I immediately shake my head no. It smelled so bad, I couldn't eat it. And my mom's like beckoning me. It's like, oh, Olivia, it's healthy for you. It's an adventure bite. You won't know if you don't like it until you try it. And I just shake my head. I'm like, I can't eat this, Mom. So then, after 5 minutes of arguing, she suggests that I drink some milk really fast and then eat the red pepper so the milk hides the taste of the red pepper. So I do that because she told me to. And I'm sitting here now. I drink the milk and I put the red pepper in my mouth, but I don't do anything. I'm just sitting there like a chipmunk with nuts in its mouth. And she's like, okay, Olivia, now eat it. And I'm like, no, thank you. So 5 minutes later, she starts to get angry. And I'm like, this isn't going to end well. And she starts counting. And if your mom or dad ever counted, you know it's trouble. She goes, Olivia, if I get to 3, I'm going to take your birthday presents away. Because I just had my 4th birthday party, so all my shiny new toys were being threatened. She goes, 1, 2, 3, and there goes my toys. And I'm a little shocked, but I didn't eat it still. And by this time, we're both exhausted. My mom's having trouble coming up with new threats to threaten me, and my cheeks are sore, milk is dribbling down my chin, and I'm just sort of miserable. And my mom's getting sick of this. So she's starting, then she comes up with another idea. Olivia, I'm going to call Santa and put you on the naughty list. And I'm like, my eyes go wide, like, not Santa. But I couldn't eat this red pepper. So she leaves the room, and I hear her talking to Santa, and I'm about to cry because it's Santa. And she comes back and says, Olivia, Santa's very disappointed in you. You are officially on the naughty list. And I'm like, this is my first time on the naughty list. Oh, God. And I still didn't eat the pepper, and milk is just dribbling so much. And this time my mom picks up my chair and brings it over to the sink, and I'm thinking, this is not a fun ride. I don't like this. And she grabs that little kitchen spray nozzle thing where you click and it sprays like a shower, a mini shower in your hand, like a portable shower for 5 feet. And she points it at me and says, Olivia, eat the red pepper. And I'm thinking she wouldn't dare, because I hated getting wet. She knew I hated getting wet. I was like a human cat. I hated getting wet. And I'm thinking she wouldn't betray my trust. I'm going to say no. So I shook my head no. I was so wrong. She sprayed me from head to toe, and I was so shocked that my jaw dropped, like in the movies. They just dropped. And the milk poured out, and that red pepper, that itty-bitty little red pepper that caused this whole thing, fell out as well. My mom put the little portable shower thing back, picked up the red pepper, handed it to me, and said, "Olivia, eat it." And I'm like, I don't want to get wet again. So I cautiously take the red pepper, and I ate it. And it was like, thank God. And my mom, to this day, still reminds me that to eat your vegetables, Olivia. And I'm like, I forgive you for that, but I don't forgive red bell peppers. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, judges. All right. Oh. Okay, so we have a 9.4, a 9.0, an 8.3, an 8.3, and an 8.3. All right. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, man, for me, it was really, well, a lot of things I didn't want to eat. Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, but now I love them. I love them. I'm not sure what it is, why it changes, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the red pepper as well was not on the list. Are you guys, whoa, you guys are done. Again, very fast. Okay, so next up is Asha.
Hello. So last summer, my friends and I played this game called The Floor is Lava. And the object of the game is when one person yells, "The floor is lava!" You have to try to find a spot that isn't on the floor within 5 seconds, or else you get burned by the lava. And so we had this challenge going within the game where we would try to, say the floor is lava to each other at spots where we knew someone couldn't get off the ground, and whoever lost the most had to buy everyone else ice cream. So one day my friend and I are walking around my neighborhood when she yells it. And so I'm looking around, frantically searching for a spot to stand, but there's nowhere. And so finally I hop into the yard of this little blue house just before the 5 seconds are up. And so I'm relieved because I'm way too broke to buy everyone ice cream. And so I barely even have a second to catch my breath when the owner of the blue house steps out onto her porch and starts screaming at us, "What the hell are you doing in my yard? And what did you drop?" Now, I hadn't dropped anything. The only thing I had in my hand was a tissue, which I was still holding, but she was screaming, and I guess my fight or flight response kicked in because I just yelled, "Run!" to my friend, and we took off. We ran up the block, ran into my house, which was just a block away, slammed the door, locked it, and then I went into my basement and crouched down on the steps, and my friend lay down in my living room to be out of the way of the window. And since we were separated, we started FaceTiming each other, and we were just looking at each other through the cameras on our phones like, oh God, if we weren't in trouble then, we are definitely in trouble now. And so no sooner had that thought crossed our minds when we heard this knocking on my front door. And I mean, this wasn't knocking, this was pounding. And the woman's voice was yelling. She had followed us to my house, and she was screaming, shaking the whole door, demanding I come out, demanding I tell her what I had dropped. And so, I mean, we just sit there. There's no way I'm going out there. And now she's rattling the doorknob, which luckily I had locked. She has it, and she's shaking it, and I think my entire door is just going to be ripped off its hinges when suddenly there's just silence. And so I creep up the basement steps to where my friend is, and we look out the window, and the woman has disappeared. She's gone. So we just sit on my floor, recovering, I guess, when suddenly we hear another knocking. And so, of course, we both have a heart attack, and we peek out my front window. And luckily, it's just my friend Maya. She lives in my neighborhood, and she'll often come over and use my trampoline. And so I opened the door, and I was laughing, and I was about to explain to her who I thought she was and this crazy thing that had just happened, when I looked behind her and I saw the woman standing there on the sidewalk glaring at me. And Maya explained to me that the woman had come around my backyard with the intention, I guess, of getting in through my back door when she had seen Maya and she demanded Maya come out and knock on my front door. She was just playing on the trampoline and get me. And so now, of course, I have to talk to this woman because she's holding Maya hostage. And so I'm like steeling myself to go out there when my parents get home. And so they're walking up the sidewalk and they see the woman and she starts talking to them. And now, I know I should be relieved that, adults are here, I'm safe, but instead I feel a sense of dread because I see the way this woman's demeanor changes. Gone is the psychopath who tried to rip open my front door a few minutes ago. She's calm, a little irritated, but sociable, explaining to my parents what had happened, and of course, they believed her. So they went up onto my porch and told me I had to come down to apologize to the woman. And so I walked down and what ensued was the awkwardest 5-minute conversation of my life where I apologized to the woman and we both tried to pretend that she hadn't just tried to break into my house 5 minutes ago. So finally she left and I explained what had actually happened to my parents and they believed me. And it felt good to be believed. Now, I tell this story a lot, and a lot of people have asked me, if I could do it all over again, go back to that moment with my parents and the woman, would I do something different? I hadn't done anything wrong, so would I refuse to apologize and fight against that unfairness? And to be honest, I wouldn't change a single thing. Because adults have the tendency to hear each other's voices far louder than the voices of children, even their own. And so I knew that the only way I could get my parents to listen to me would be to get that woman to go away. And for me, being away from that troubled woman, being safe, was far more important than justice and fairness. Thank you.
Okay. Judges. Okay, so we have a 9.3, a 9.4, an 8.5, a 9.0, and a 9.1. All right, thank you. Okay, yeah, I don't know how many people have had the crazy neighbor experience, but yeah, that one's happened to a lot of us. I did bring the hat. I thought about it, I was like, do I bring the hat up? But yeah, you do. You bring the hat up. You have to. Even though we know that there's one name in here, you still have to do it. Are you guys, oh, they're done. Okay. So I'm going to call the last name. I'm still going to pull it out of the hat. That's right, thank you. Olivia L. Olivia L., come on down. Do you want the mic stand? Okay, there you go.
Hi, I'm obviously the last one. So, my story starts at Gilkey International Middle School. It was the first day of 6th grade, and I was utterly and completely alone. I walk into the gym after my mom pushes me out of the car in front and says, I have to go drop off your sisters. Have a good day. Bye. So I walk in, and I'm completely overwhelmed. There are probably 9 sets of parents around the gym, huddling around their kids, crying like they were sending them off to war. And I was like, I don't understand this. We're practically adults. We're in 6th grade. So I stood there, shy. I was standing there very awkwardly. And thankfully, someone came to my rescue. My soon-to-be best friend, Annalise Wofford. And she comes up bounding, and she says, I heard we're in the same advisory. And advisory at my middle school was basically the same thing as homeroom. So we bonded immediately, and we hit it off. And even though we were completely different. I mean, polar opposites. She was, really not shy. She didn't care what anyone thought of her. And and I was just that one girl that didn't say anything. So we go into our advisory room and we meet the teacher, nice, Miss Paul was the art teacher. And we also meet a very unpleasant person, Emile Bollard, her soon-to-be boyfriend. And so Emile he's this little French guy who has the attitude of a chihuahua that was stung by a bee. He thinks he's very mighty, yet you look at him and you're like, dude, you gotta get a life. So we meet him, and I didn't like him from the start, I will say that. And so a couple weeks later, they start dating, and dating in 6th grade is like walking around the campus holding your boyfriend's hand. That was the thing. And so everything's fine, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's not that bad. And a couple weeks later, he starts being really, really rude. I mean, like, texting her, making fun of what she wore. Her style was very, very different from what it is now. She would wear this, like, overcoat that was striped and, like, jeans and a French beret. And so he would make fun of her, and he would also make fun of what she ate because she was gluten-free back then, so she would have to bring, like, her own separate lunch. And so I asked her about it, and I was like, okay, dude, like, he is not a good person. You should just stay away from him. And he was trouble. He was one of those people that, like, you should stay away from, but you don't. And so it kept going on, and I was like, okay, enough is enough. So one day at recess, she was standing, like, in the middle, and he was talking to her, being mean to her, and they were surrounded by his friends. And so I go up to them, and I hear what they're saying, and I just get this rage inside of me that boils, and I step up to him, and I say, Emile, shove off. Leave her alone. Stop being mean to her. And he was taken aback. I can still remember his face. And I was taken aback too, because that was the first time I'd ever stood up for someone that wasn't myself. And so, he just, like, backs up, and he's like, whoa, like, wow. And so from that point on, he and his friends learned not to mess with me. And so he walks away, and he's kind of, like, ashamed a bit because, he's hunched, and his friends are kind of like, oh, wow, dude, you lost to a girl. And so at that point in time, I realized that my words have power, and that it was up to me to use them for people who couldn't stand up for themselves. And now I'm grateful for what happened, because without Emile, without the situation, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be confident, outgoing, and I wouldn't have the ideal that it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks about you. It matters what you think about yourself. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so judges, final tally. Okay, we have an 8.2, an 8.4, an 8.1, an 8.8, and a 9.4. Okay. So let's give a round of applause one last time for all of our storytellers tonight. I'd also like to thank our musician, Jesse, here for playing for us this evening. Thank you again to the judges for being here, for giving the scores out to everybody. And thank you to, again, parents and family and friends for being here for our inaugural. It's such a hard word to say, inaugural. Am I saying it right? It just sounds weird as soon as you say it. Thank you. Oh, sure. Yeah, you're welcome. Again, donations to FabFOA. Josh Forsyth. Really, any amount is fine. I will say that my brick will get fixed first, just because it was the first on the agenda. But then after that, really any other bricks could be fixed. So they're in the process now of tallying the winner for tonight's event. I'd also like to just say thank you to Sunny Childs for helping this event happen as well. She did almost all of the organizing of this event, so it's definitely with her efforts that we're here this evening. Are we ready to announce the third, second, and first place winner?
We are. I would like to say that if all the storytellers can stay a minute so I can get a shot with all of you, because I didn't have a chance to do that, along with taking a couple pics of the third, second, and first place. We do hope that y'all come back on March 1st to see our winner compete against the slam winners from the other schools, and we'll certainly keep you posted about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to put in a couple plugs before we announce, because I just have this opportunity to totally plug my own stuff. And by that I mean the theater department stuff. January 19th and 20th, we will be doing a performance of 12 Angry Jurors in this room, but open to the public, January 19th and 20th. And then in the month of March 9th, we will open Anything Goes. Anything Goes, the musical, will be opening on the main stage. So please come back to the theater events. And then again, March 1st is the Portland Public Schools Story Slam in here. Truth Be Told is the theme for that one. So without further ado,
What's the name of it?
yeah, Truth Be
The
Told.
theme is still Trouble.
Oh, the theme is still Trouble, but the actual event is called Truth Be Told. Both start with T, all three T's. It's just about the T's. Trouble, truth,
Are you ready?
told. Yes.
You ready? So I'm going to hand you,
Third place.
yep, I'm going to hand you third, if I can.
The third place winner is Seth. Come on up. Yes, sir. And there's your cash money. Okay, and second place goes to Emily Roman. Emily, come on down. Yes, come on up, come on up. And our winner for the evening is Asha. Asha, come on up. All right, congratulations, guys.
Get closer. Thank you. And if we could have all the storytellers up, come on up.
Yeah, come on, guys, here.
I have to say, it takes an incredible amount of courage to get up and share your own stories. And what is amazing to me is that watching these kids' stories transform in the last couple of days, they were just sort of like, I got this story, and they whipped it together. Something about being on stage and you guys receiving their stories just made it an incredible experience. So I really want to thank you for taking that step and being the first in our inaugural Story Slam. I look forward to hearing a lot more from you guys, so thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Keep telling your stories. Keep telling your stories.